Welcome, everyone, to the CEO Next Door, Episode 4. I'm your host, Mike Mayer, CEO of Main Event Digital. And with me today is my co host, Donovan Morrison, our newly crowned COO. How you doing, Donovan?
I am doing just fine, Mike. Getting ready for the weekend here. Actually, turn 30 tomorrow. So crossing the threshold into the next stage of adulthood, which I guess I'm looking forward to. I'm not quite sure how to feel about it.
I think your 30s will be just as fun as your 20s.
That's
It,
the
it,
hope.
it goes downhill once you hit your 40s.
Okay, well,
You
I'll
got
have
10
to
years left.
take advantage of the next decade then. Really live
Well,
it up.
well, happy birthday. I hope you have a
Thank
great
you.
weekend.
Thank you. Thanks.
Also with us today is our esteemed guest, Kelly Gallagher. She is the president of EverLights. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for having me. Hi, Donovan. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thanks for being on this episode. Glad to have you on.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity.
So we asked Kelly to be on the show. She's a president, a CEO of an electrical distributor, lighting supply house. I guess how would you classify your business?
So EverLights handles all things lighting and electrical. So we do lighting supply, lighting design, lighting recycling, and electrical supply. We focus on large projects versus day-to-day business. So if you have a building, a 17 or however large building that you're building, those kind of projects are a specialty where we'll help design your needs, your lighting needs, and provide the material. Same with a large electrical project. We do data centers, airport work, infrastructure work. So we focus on the projects to bring electrical material and lighting to the job.
So
Interesting. What have been some of your favorite projects that you've worked on?
Some of it, probably Horizon Pharmaceutical was one of my favorite projects. It's up north in northern Chicago suburbs. So they contacted me over during the pandemic, and it was one of those phone calls that I didn't know was coming. And they were moving their corporate headquarters and needed us to handle all the lighting and update the lighting as well as provide new lighting. So we jumped into this project sort of sight unseen and got to redesign a three campus new corporate headquarters. The project, I think by the end of the day, was about $4 million in new lighting. And It was a great pandemic surprise. Like, as we were all so nervous about what was going to happen to the market, we were blessed with this opportunity that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of freedom to present some cool ideas, and the owner was super innovative, and he wanted his space to be fun, collaborative, updated. So that's probably my most recent fun project that we just finished this year, actually.
Are you guys focused on all commercial customers, or are there any residential also?
We in 2020 we launched our e-commerce website to offer prestigious lighting to the residential market. So we do some design services for that market, but it's still fresh for us and growing. So it's not a primary focus, but it's a growing vertical that we're looking to branch into.
Okay.
Being green and helping this planet is really important to a lot of us. Do you focus at all on energy audits and helping to move people to LED? Is that part of your business?
Yeah, so LED products are pretty much all you can get now. So the next level of sustainability that we do try to bring to the clients is lighting controls. It's typically like a small add-on to your projects to let your lights turn off when no one's in the room or dim down for you so you have the perfect lighting. And it saves a lot of energy usage. So all of our jobs are LED, and then we do try to promote lighting controls with them. And then we offer something unique in the sustainability world where we can take the client's old lighting and get it and have it recycled. So we offer a full turnkey of providing new products as well as taking away old products.
What kind of savings do people typically see when they're doing replacing all their lighting with more energy efficient and with better controls?
I mean, it's hard to say like a blanket number. of savings. You guys good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you
Because the
hear us?
dog's barking. It's, I would say on their energy bill, depending on what they had going into it, anywhere from 20 to 60% savings. Like
Wow.
some companies still have really old, antiquated lighting in their offices, and it's draining their utility bills. So
Right.
by upgrading to more efficient lighting, they can sometimes the savings pays for the upgrade. So I highly encourage someone that's curious about what they can save, especially if they have old technology, to call someone. We do energy audits. We would do a free audit for them, offer them a good, better, best solution, provide them with what the savings will be. And then if there's some utility rebates that are possible, we'll actually do the paperwork for the utility rebate so that we can help them get ComEd money to offset the cost of doing the install.
I mean, there's really no reason why you wouldn't want to do this. I mean,
No, not at
you're
all.
offering the audit for free. If you haven't already been upgraded, you would be making a huge mistake not taking you guys up on this offer.
Right. And the lighting today is it's so pretty. It's such a nice light source that you're also improving the environment within your space, and hopefully your employees will be happier and more productive as a result.
Yeah, so I'm curious, you've mentioned a couple times now light recycling, and that being a big piece of your offerings. Sounds very intriguing. Can you speak a little bit more about what that process is?
Yeah, absolutely. So recycling lighting is actually how I got into business. It's what I started doing back in 1995. The original light bulb is a fluorescent light bulb after the incandescent is fluorescent, and all fluorescent lighting contains mercury. It's a small amount of mercury, but mercury never decomposes. It actually goes up the food chain. So once it's in the environment, it's there to stay. So EverLights opened in 1995 to offer commercial businesses a safe disposal option. Our first customer was University of Chicago, actually. So we provide storage containers for the light bulbs and a pickup service for the light bulbs. We've perfected this service, so we now offer it nationwide, where we can go to any dock across the country within 24 hours notice. And we also offer a mail back program so that commercial companies can recycle their lamps responsibly. And that our mail back program is really ideal for like a smaller user, someone that's recycling maybe less than 200 lamps a year. We supply them with a box and a mercury absorbent kit that they can safely mail their bulbs back to us for proper disposal.
Do your customers have to buy new lamps and fixtures from you in order to utilize your recycling service?
No, not at all. It's a separate service. We service one of our biggest accounts on the recycling side is Walmart. We recycle their lamps across the country. Unfortunately, we don't sell them their new lamps. That would be incredible, but absolutely, it's a la carte. So if you just need recycling services, we can accommodate. If you need both, we'll of course offer you some incentives to recycle and supply with us. Or we can just handle your supply needs.
Okay. So you mentioned that the business started, I believe you said 1995.
Mm-hmm.
Take us back. How did either you or your family get the idea for EverLights? Tell us about the founding story.
So this founding story was really started with my mom, Pat Gallagher. She not college educated, but always just had an entrepreneurial spirit and was always coming up with ideas of like how to help people, basically. And she claims it was when she was visiting me in college and she saw all the trash around that she wanted to start some sort of recycling company. And when I graduated from college, she had seen like she already had a business that was selling lighting. So she had seen the demand for lighting was incredible. And so she wanted to offer her customers a safe solution. But she also wanted to keep it separate from her original company because she wanted, if someone just wanted to recycle, they can do that. So when I graduated from college, she asked if I would be interested in starting the business with her. I had an English major background, so no experience, but I found starting the business like very intuitive. I researched like who was recycling lighting. Nothing was happening in Chicago. we met with other recyclers. They were typically in Wisconsin and Minnesota to hear their startup story. And it kind of got to work. We lobbied in Springfield, got some legislation passed, making it easier and less expensive for companies to safely dispose of their light bulbs. And like kind of the rest is history. Like we just built it one customer at a time, a lot of education, a lot of sustainability training behind that service. And there still is like a lot of, people can get overwhelmed if they have 1,000 light bulbs they're sitting in their warehouse to recycle. There's a lot of education around that service. And we provide everything from nuts to bolts so that it's done really easily. And probably one of the oldest lamp recyclers in the business now, because we started relatively early and we're still around, whereas a lot of people have kind of since closed down.
So was this your parents or your mom's first business as well, or was she an entrepreneur prior to EverLights?
She was an entrepreneur prior to EverLights. So EverLights was my mom's second business. So she started an electrical supply company 10 years earlier in 1985.
Okay, so you had a lot of experience growing up with parents or a mom who was an entrepreneur. And what did you learn from just seeing her during your upbringing?
I like that the work never stops. Like I remember, we talked about it at the dinner table, we talked about it on the weekends, like it just, and we all worked together. Like we were all expected to chip in and help mom. There wasn't really such thing as a spring break. It was really mom got a couple extra hands to help her out. And I really saw it better my mom, because prior to that, she worked at a department store selling clothing, and to that, she was a stay-at-home mom. So I really saw it give my mom a lot of confidence. And my mother can't be fake to save her life. And so I saw people really appreciate her authenticity. And she kind of just showed me that anything is hard and be honest with people and provide more value for them than they're expecting. And I think that was her secret that I definitely picked up on for success.
Sure. Kelly, would you mind just repeating that real quick? I think our audio cut out just for a second.
What part do you need? The whole thing?
The last 10 to 15 seconds would be great.
I don't even know what I said. Sorry.
Or we can just move on. That's fine.
Let's move on.
Okay.
We'll edit as needed.
Yep.
Okay.
So Kelly, I think it's great that you started off helping your mom and dad. Was it your dad's business also? Or was it your mom was just running the electrical supply house?
Just my mom. My dad was an electrician, actually.
Oh, okay.
So he eventually started working with my mom, but he didn't start working with her. She was in business for about 10, 12 years before he wanted to get out of the field and came and helped her. And it was great. Like he offered a new service for my mom because the guys that she was servicing could talk to another electrician that knew like what he was selling because he used the products himself. So that was a big win for her when he did come work for her. But it was always my mom's baby.
Impressive. So you got your start doing some work for her. What were you doing? Were you in the warehouse or were you at the counter or helping customers? Like what were you actually doing?
So I would invoice like during summer breaks and holiday breaks, I'd invoice for them. Back then they had catalogs, like had the pricing listed. So I had to update the catalog sheets, all that stuff that's so automated now. But back then it wasn't. You typed your invoices, everything was handwritten. I did help in the warehouse with just consolidating inventory, doing inventory counts. So all the grunt work is what I cut my teeth with.
Yeah, you did.
So when you were in college, did you foresee yourself going into business with your mom, or did it take some convincing on her end to get you to come on board?
1 second. So I did not foresee going into business with my mom. Like my mom, electrical supply company was in the south suburbs of Chicago. It was so not exciting or glamorous. So I had wanted to kind of eventually become an English professor. And
Ah,
my mom was supportive of that. I had applied to teach English in Italy after I graduated, and
Wow.
I didn't get the job. And my mom kind of tricked me, and she said, well, why don't you just try this? And you can leave whenever you want. And so I started helping her out with this idea. And then I really liked it. Like, that's why I really believe in giving people a chance, because if I had interviewed me back then, I wouldn't have hired me. But my mom gave me an opportunity. And once I started the opportunity, I really loved kind of figuring stuff out and building something.
What did you like about it? What was exciting?
Like I liked that, like I will never forget sitting down and speaking to a legislator, because we're trying to get some legislation passed to support lighting recycling. And the guy was out of Kankakee. I can't remember what his name was. Representative Novak, I think his name was Phil Novak. And like he listened to us. He wanted to know about mercury and light bulbs. And he presumed we were this huge company, and it was just my mom and I. And it was just a cool experience to know that we could make a difference by just sort of putting yourself out there, like not being afraid, just picking up the phone. And, it was just neat. Like, I don't know, it just wasn't as hard as I think like if I was a business major, I would have thought it was.
okay. So I'm
Yeah.
curious, what have you found to be the most interesting dynamic surrounding being in business with your mom? Not only a family member, but your mother. I mean, how do you keep business and personal life separate and keep that relationship separate? Or at this point, is it all intertwined into one?
Yeah. Well, mom left the business in the early 2000s, so she's now retired. And when I started EverLights with my mom, she was busy. So she was doing her original company. It was really big. So I had a lot of I'm sure because I was her daughter, she had a lot of trust in me. So I think our secret was like, we kind of stayed out of each other's sandbox and let each other sort of explore and thrive on their own. And gave each other a lot of autonomy. And like, that's how it works. And no one's going to work harder for you than someone that loves what they're doing. I don't think that necessarily has to be a family member, but in our situation at the time it was. And so I think that just also bred a lot of trust and autonomy so that we could both kind of make it happen and build it.
So over the first 5 years or so of the business, was it always the plan that you would be the natural successor of sorts and mold into that CEO role when your mom exited the business? Or was it a succession type situation where it was you and other siblings kind of battling it out to be on top?
No, it was just my mom and I really
Okay.
with EverLights. And at the time, you're growing it to survive. Like we didn't have a lot of foresight as far as mom's gonna retire in 2006, which is when she did retire.
Okay.
We just tried, built it. And
Yep.
and she wasn't super involved. Like I said, she did have another business that really kept her busy. So it just sort of was really natural. And then when I was fully on my own is when I would start looking at other things. Like by 2012, I wanted to make it bigger. And so I started adding more services onto EverLights. Like we started adding new light bulbs. We started working with ComEd and doing the energy audits. By 2014, EverLights added electrical supplies. We differentiated ourselves by just focusing on project business. So I just kind of then took the business and decided that I wanted it to be more than what my mom and I had started, and applied that same principle. Like one of my philosophies is never say no. So if an opportunity presented itself to me, I would always say yes, and then figure it out as I went. And now I'm much more mature, and I kind of know what fits and what doesn't fit. But I still believe that you should never say no. Like God, I'm a very faithful person, and I feel like God provides signs and gifts for us along the way, but it's up to us to take advantage of those. And I mean, since my mom left, so in 2006, EverLights probably did about 1.5 million in business. And last year we did just over 25 million. So
Wow.
I feel like I've really grown the company and expanded it. We stuck with our core services. We still offer recycling services, but we offer a lot more. And we apply that same philosophy that made my mom successful. We're authentic. We are honest. We deliver more than our customer expects. And so I try to, at the end of the day, I do a lot of business with probably a smaller client base, because we really take care of the people that we service.
Seems it's impressive growth, by the way, but seems like your mother has been a mentor to you throughout your career and your life. Any other people that you've leaned on or learned from that have helped you to shape who you are today?
Yeah, yes, I'm a big constant learner. So I've done, I did 10,000 Small Businesses, which is a Goldman Sachs program for small business owners. It's kind of like a boutique MBA program where you take classes 1 day a week. It's a lot of time, but they bring in professors from Babson University, which is the country's #1 entrepreneurial school, to teach you. And that was a huge influence on me. That was when, because of that, I decided to take EverLights recycling nationwide. I do business seminars. I've done Tony Robbins' business seminars, his other seminars, just, kind of learning to think bigger. I've had business coaches that have helped me sort of structure the way I approach things and the way I can look at opportunities. So yeah, I'm always kind of looking for that next mentor, Mike. Like, I think that we're never done learning and never done sharpening the pencil. So
Yep.
Yeah, there's been a lot since my mom.
Being an entrepreneur, you run into a lot of ups and downs, and would like to, if you could think back to some of those ups and downs, maybe some of the mistakes you made and you learned from, or some of your big successes. I would love to hear some more about that.
Yeah, I agree. I always say, I hope that we can survive the education of running our own business, because we do we learn through experience. And so in 2017 was one of my darkest years at EverLights. We lost money for the one and only time we lost money that year. And I'll never forget, like, just full on panic, because I had never experienced that before. And looking back, it was a big year of growth. We moved to a bigger facility, did a lot of investment in the company. And we bit off a lot. And as a result, we were able to grow, every year since by about 20%. But that was probably the darkest time, is like, just, it was the first time that things didn't like really kind of fall into place for us. And it was a good lesson that not to take things for granted. Like, you never can guarantee that next order. So I feel like you always have to work for it. Right. And the team takes direction from leadership. So, as a leader, I have to stay on the team and get them engaged, and I do that a lot more now, where we meet strategically monthly, we have team goals, and really trying to, always kind of accelerate the growth and not take it for granted that our #1 customer this year is going to be the #1 customer next year. It doesn't always work that way.
Personally, how did you cope and get through that difficult period? Because it's so easy, and I know Mike and I have discussed this in the past, that, entrepreneurship is filled with ups and downs, and the downs can be really tough, not only for your business, but it bleeds over into your personal life. How did you maintain a sense of calm and really weather the storm?
So I had a full-on panic attack with my husband at the kitchen table one morning, and he's like, what is wrong? I'm like, it was hard. And at the time, I had a business coach, and hindsight, that was like incredible. So although I'm paying this guy a lot of money to coach me, it was the best timing, because he said to me, like, when you start panicking about this, like, just tell yourself, this is a moment, you will get through this. And so like, that's when I think I really started meditating. and probably meditating for real, because I had to keep my mind calm so that I could make good decisions. And so I think my business coach was really helpful then to teach me how to kind of rise above the moment and still look strategically ahead. And so I have practiced that. Much easier said than done. I practiced that. And so that was 2017. Like 2 years later, I opened my second facility in DC. And like, it's been fantastic ever since. And I think that was what did it for me, is really kind of working with someone that had a lot more years of experience and under his belt.
What else do you do besides meditation to keep yourself balanced in your personal life?
I still read a lot. I read a lot of business books, a lot of spiritual books. My husband is my best confidant, so we do a lot of talking, a lot of walks in the woods, and spending time with the family. I know it's all like the cliche stuff that everyone talks about, but that for me, that's the stuff that really does work. It keeps me grounded. Keeping a nice tight circle of friends around that are like-minded, because I think being an entrepreneur, you're definitely a different breed, right? You're like always thinking about work. You're always thinking about a new idea. And so to have people around that also think that way is very calming. Like you have your tribe. So kind of keeping and maintaining my tribe is also something that I have found really helpful. And
important.
Yeah, very important.
Building and maintaining that support system is so critical.
Yeah.
So what are you currently doing? Let's talk about current state of EverLights. What are you currently working on to take the business to the next level?
So we opened up an e-commerce store in 2020, and I recently hired Mike to help us take that to the next level. And I think we are. Like, we had a great meeting with his team today and had some really amazing breakthroughs of how to structure that and how to kind of make it its own, separate from EverLights, like create maybe like our first new company. And so that's exciting. Our lease is up this year, so we're looking to move and kind of plant some real estate and possibly buy the building. I also am expanding my East Coast location. We're increasing our space there because we're pulling in some really nice projects on the East Coast. So kind of a little bit, we're making everything bigger that's already in place. Our website's going to be better. Our location's going to be better. And then continuing to like support the staff is another big focus for us this year. Last year we rolled out mental health initiatives all year long. We did chair massages, meditation, yoga, cooking classes, all at work, not during the lunch hour, because I wanted to give people like a gift of stepping out of like all of the noise that was happening in the world. And so this year we're taking it up a notch. We're doing some more, we're like offering coaching to my staff to, really kind of help them self-improve so that they feel that by giving us their time, the company's investing in them. So this year it's like a lot of the same stuff, but just doing it all better.
Sounds like a great place to work. Sounds like you're Google-esque with your amenities. I
hope so. We're trying.
You know what I find really impressive about your success is that you are fighting an uphill battle. I've spent the last 10 years in electrical supply, and it is hands down a male-dominated field.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you react to that? How do you feel about that? Do you feel like the odd man out when you're dealing with your peers and competitors? Is my assessment correct about the male domination in this industry?
Yeah, no, it definitely is. But it doesn't bother me. Like, right. I've always been really comfortable around men, so that doesn't bother me. And I also it's really jazzed. I get really jazzed. Like, we just got another really nice contract with the data center, and they picked us because we serviced them better than it was such a big job. They're our first phase. So they work with maybe 5 electrical suppliers. We got the biggest piece for phase 2 because we were the best ones. Like, we serviced the best. So like, that gets me really excited, because you're right, Mike, like, it's such a competitive industry.
Yeah.
And people will look at EverLights like, oh, like they're so small and we're not a national distributor. Like, but I think we kind of overcome that. And there are times I have to walk away from a job and just say, I'm not the right solution. Like, because I am an independent small distributor, I may not have the right pricing and I may not have the right services. So I'll just, more often than not, when I can recognize that, I'll politely decline with the client. So and kind of keep it where I feel like we have established a nice niche for ourselves. And that's what's coming our way. It's like when people recognize like this should be a job where they might need additional services on lighting. Like we have an engineer on staff. We're probably one of the few electrical supply companies that does, but we want to be able to look at lighting and look at both current layouts and offer a better solution if there is one. Everyone's always trying to save money. Well, so now we're offering savings, but we're able to substantiate it that there are savings that are not going to jeopardize the integrity of the job. So I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. And I feel like because it doesn't, I still find ways that we can compete with the big guys.
I think
Obviously, go ahead, Mike.
buddy. No, go ahead.
I was going to say this is a hypothetical, but would you ever consider selling EverLights, or are you going to continue working on it for the rest of your career? What do you think?
Well, for sure, I would totally sell. Give me a pasta in like Italy, like no doubt. Like I definitely will.
Okay.
I'm not done yet. Like I don't think it's not where I want it to be. But you know, my mom gave me this amazing opportunity. I'd love to do the same for someone else. Like, here's a great company, can, you know, take it to the next level. Like, yeah.
It's always an interesting.
I really do want to live in Italy one day. So yeah, I'm fine selling.
I don't.
That'd be a good way to facilitate that.
Yeah. So
you can sell electrical supplies in Italy and help them to retrofit.
Hopefully
restart.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd rather try a vineyard or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds
something
a lot
new.
better. Yeah.
Great. Well, before we wrap up, I don't know, Mike, did you have any last questions?
Yeah, I think, and this may be your last question. You know, we like to leave our listeners with nuggets of wisdom and want them to be able to walk away from these podcasts with tips and tricks. And I mean, I think you've already given a ton of good insight and helpful feedback. But any other thoughts on lessons you've learned or advice that you would share with other entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing I got from that I've learned through the years is just think big. Like, just because you're a small business or starting out, like it doesn't mean you are not like you don't deserve what some big competitor has. Like, think big because you can do it. Like, I mean, I truly believe anything is possible. And I always say, you know, plan from the end goal. Like, so if your goal is to land on the moon, what steps you need to take to get there, and just plan your days and your months and your years with your end goal, and you'll achieve anything you set out to achieve. That would be my advice. And think bigger than you currently do.
And hire the right people.
Yes.
That
and
is
know
key.
You deserve to hire the right people, right?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes we surround ourselves with people that we think we deserve, but you deserve better.
You're right.
So, especially in this day and age.
Yeah. No, this has been great. I any other last thoughts by either of you guys, or should we call it?
I think that can be a wrap for this episode.
Okay, cool. Thanks you guys so much. Hopefully I didn't ramble and I was articulate. I definitely speak from the heart. So
no, we truly appreciate your participation and talking with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Mike, really, it was a great meeting with your team today.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, it was really good. We're getting there.
That's awesome. I'm really happy to hear that.
Thanks.
Well, have a great weekend, guys.
Okay. You too. Happy birthday, Donovan.
Happy birthday, Donovan.
See you guys.
All right. Thanks.
Okay.
Everybody got a dream, let me show you all love. From an idea, working it into a startup. This the show that you need, what more could you ask for? Never know who become the CEO next door. Tune in, every episode insightful. The type of vibe you will want to subscribe to. Let's go. Hey.